So now I can put my add button here, and we can continue working on the function itself. So what we want to return, we want to create a button that has some kind of action and a label. The label, we are going to use an image, which is system image name. I'm using here this add the plus button, which is from SF Symbols. So we can use the system name, and I'm going to pass it plus.circle. You can see it appears. We can enlarge it a little bit because it's SF Symbols. We can use the font modifier here. I'm going to go with a title 3 just to bring it a little bit bigger. Right, and usually if I do a background here, let's pass a color, you will see that our background is this size. So this is actually our clickable area. What I want to do, because the button itself is quite small, I want to make it the clickable area a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to do is add some extra padding. So if I add padding on all the edges, you see our button is moved and the padding is quite big. So the red area I marked as a background so that you can see which part will be clickable. But as you can see, if we just comment this out, our button is quite small, but it's also moved quite left, which we don't want. So what we want to do is apply our padding everywhere apart from the trailing side. So I want to do it vertical and leading. And let's do it, I don't know, 5 points, so it's smaller. Okay, and get rid of this background. So our button is back into its original position, and it has a little bit bigger clicking area, which will be easier for the finger to touch. So this is our button, and the action, we can say just print, add loan, just for now. And what we can do is quickly run to see if that works. You can see it's printing out add loan, which is good, and we have our 5 items here. Cool. So let's get back, and in order to show our sheet presentation here, let's go to our ready application. So this is presented modally. So it's like a sheet. We are using a sheet to present this view. So in order to do that, we need to keep track of the sheet presentation. So if the sheet is presented or no. And for that, let's create a state variable here. Private var is add loan showing. And this equals to false by default. And under our toolbar, we are going to use this sheet modifier. And here we have 2 options, an item or is presented on dismiss and content. We want to choose the is presented. And is presented is a binding bool, which we have created a boolean. And in order to use binding, we just put the $, and then we say is add loan showing, and the content will be whatever we put here will be in our new presentation view. So if I put a text here and just say, I don't know, I am add loan view, and if I actually, we don't even have to run, just refresh, and of course we need to remove the print here and say is add loan showing equals to true. Okay, so this is our button action now. So now if I click on the plus button, it says I am the load add loan view. We can pull it down to dismiss. Cool, our presentation of add loan view is working, but right now we have only the option to dismiss this, is to pull it down. But Apple recommends that always to have a button to cancel the view anyway. Even though the pull down is available, we need to provide the button as well. So for now, let's keep the things as they are because we have a text here. What we are going to do is we are going to create this add loan view so that we can present it here. So let's go to our file here, Command N, new SwiftUI view, and I'm going to call this add loan view. All right, So in our add loan view, we need to put some information about our loan that we want to create. In particular, we have 4 things that we need. We need to know the name of the loan, the amount, when it starts, and the due date. So let's start with all this information. All our functionality is going to happen on a view model side. So our add loan view will only include the visual part of it. So I'm going to get rid of this text, and instead we are going to use a VStack, but there is one very nice trick I want to show you, how we place these buttons here. We have 2 options. We could use like in general a VStack here, and then we put an H stack and push the buttons on each side and position it on the top, or we could actually use a navigation stack here, and then we use this to as a toolbar, and we put our buttons there. So I'm going to show you the navigation stack trick here. So we start with navigation stack, and inside goes our VStack. And just for now, let's put the text so that the Xcode stops complaining. Add loan view. All right, and this should remove all our errors. Now I can quickly jump to our all loan views, and here instead of the text, when we are presenting our sheet, we said add loan view. And if I click on the plus button now, you can see that we have our add loan view, which is the view here that we are presenting. All right, we have our VStack. Under our VStack, I'm going to again use the toolbar, and we are going to pass 2 items now. The previous view, we needed only the plus button here, but now we need to have 2 buttons, one on the leading and one on the trailing side. So let's create 2 toolbar items using the placement. The first one is going to be, there are also by default Apple actions. One is cancel action, which we are going to use because one of the buttons is going to be cancel. And this basically takes whatever iOS recommends where to put the cancel button. All right, so here will be our button for cancel. And I'm going to just copy this one and paste. You can Command D, whatever you have selected, to duplicate it. And the second one is confirm action. All right, so this will be, usually it's on the trailing side. All right, so let's create 2 again, view builder functions. And this is going to be the first one, cancel button, which will return some view. All right, and again, copy this. And this is going to be our done action, which is our save button. So let's call this save button. And here in our cancel action, I will just call cancel button, and here save button. So we have our toolbar ready there. So let's create a cancel action. What we need in order to cancel our view. Basically, we want to dismiss it. So I'm going to put a button here. It will have some kind of action and a label. A label is going to be a text, and the text is going to be cancel. And I'm going to pass a font modifier. Let's do this subheadline and make it semi-bold. We say font weight semi-bold. The action, in order to dismiss any view, we can use the environment, and then we can access /.dismiss and call this var dismiss. And now I can call that and say dismiss. And it's like a function call. And this basically will dismiss our view. You can see our cancel button already is visible here. Then we have our save button. So let's create, actually I'm going to copy this and call this done. And again, we have our subheadline button. Whenever we click on done, we are going to dismiss the view anyway, but also we are going to save whatever is in our view. We are going to take all the components and create a loan object from that. For now, let's just keep it dismiss. But for our save button, there is one trick we need to do. We have to add a disabled And then we're going to pass a boolean here if we want to disable it or not. For now, I'm going to pass it true. So by default, it's disabled. So the button is not available. This is going to be dynamic, and we're going to check if our form is completed or not. All right, just quickly, let's go back to our initial view, and let's see if our buttons are working. So I'm going to click on cancel. It dismisses the view. If I drag it down, it